The shocking story begins with a couple living in California. The wife's name is Mandy, and the husband's name is Nicholas. This is set in a time when people used to live in bunkers. The husband and wife were living their lives quite well. They didn't need to earn a lot of money or have an extravagant lifestyle. All they needed was each other's company, which they both provided beautifully. In this scene, Mandy and Nicholas are shown talking to each other. Mandy shares with Nicholas that her childhood was very traumatic. She had experienced things that a normal person couldn't bear because her entire family was killed when she was young, and she had spent most of her life alone in that manner. Nicholas also shares many of his own experiences with Mandy, as they had become very good friends and didn't hide anything from each other. We also learn that the husband and wife smoked cigarettes and took unusual drugs. These strange drugs were very popular at that time, providing visions that seemed real. After conversing in this manner, they went to sleep at night. The next day, Mandy goes to the forest to get some food. A car passes by, belonging to members of a cult called New Dawn. This cult spread fear in their community and expanded their influence. The leader of this cult, Jerry, becomes very attracted to Mandy when he sees her. Jerry feels that Mandy might be somehow related to him and starts desiring her intensely. Consequently, Jerry starts seeing Mandy everywhere and wants to have her at any cost. Jerry then goes straight home, where his entire family practices a very antique and spiritual form of black magic and worships Satan rather than any god. Jerry immediately closes his eyes and lies down, repeatedly thinking about Mandy. When his mother, Marilyn, comes in and asks him, Jerry tells her that he only wants Mandy. No matter what happens, bring her to me, Marilyn. Marilyn confirms once again whether Jerry really wants that girl or not. Jerry insists that he wants her at any cost. He had given a strange stone to a man named Sean, which might be related to black magic and would help them in their quest. Meanwhile, Jerry comfortably sleeps as the others set out to find Mandy. Mother Marilyn then goes to a shop where Mandy used to work. Marilyn talks to Mandy pleasantly and, in the course of the conversation, asks for her home address. Mandy unknowingly provides her home address to this stranger, allowing Marilyn to learn where Mandy lives. Marilyn then quietly gathers her things and leaves. On the other side, in the dark, Sean is shown holding the dark stone and using it to produce a strange sound. This sound seems like an attempt to call someone. Soon, some bizarre cult members with odd and dark appearances arrive. Sean provides them with a strange liquid in a jar, which the cult leader drinks completely. The leader then demands blood in return for his services, stating that if Sean brings him blood, he will do all the work. Sean had already prepared for this and had killed one of his own group members to provide the sacrifice, which the cult members then performed. After the ritual, the cult members headed straight to kidnap Mandy. Knowing her address, they broke into the house, first capturing Nicholas and binding him with nails, leaving him to scream without anyone coming to his aid. The cult members then captured Mandy and began administering a powerful drug to her. The drug was so potent that Mandy lost all consciousness. The cult members then began to cut Mandy's neck with a strange insect. The reason behind this will be revealed shortly. They were now bringing Mandy to their leader, Jerry, as per his orders. Mandy could barely walk due to the strong effects of the drug, making it hard for her to see or understand anything. After a short while, Mandy and the others arrive at Jerry's place. Jerry is dressed in an unusual costume representing something that had been giving him and his family powers from the beginning. Jerry had also taken some strange drugs that made him somewhat disoriented, but he was still aware of everything happening around him. When Jerry saw Mandy right in front of him, he realized that Mandy was a part of his own being and that she had disappeared many years ago. Jerry, who appeared quite psychotic, proclaimed that there was no such thing as God, and that he alone existed and gave power to everyone. Even though these statements seemed impractical, Jerry was confident that this belief would protect him from all dangers and grant him unlimited powers. Jerry now wanted to engage in a physical relationship with Mandy. However, Mandy, in her drugged state, insulted Jerry, calling him crazy and powerless. Her words made Mandy laugh so hard that the surrounding cult members also began to laugh. This enraged Jerry, who then decided that Mandy must be a prostitute who enjoyed playing with men. He resolved to break up Mandy and Nicholas's relationship, intending to cause discord between them. Jerry quickly took Mandy to Nicholas and told him that his relationship with Mandy was fake and that Mandy was cheating on him. He claimed that if another man came along, Mandy would leave Nicholas. Jerry was trying to provoke Nicholas, hoping he would abandon Mandy, which would benefit Jerry. Despite the intense pressure, Nicholas didn't trust Jerry. Meanwhile, Jerry, being completely psychotic, went to see his sister. Jerry then told Nicholas that his sister loved him so much that she would give her life for him. Nicholas immediately gave his sister a knife to end her life. However, instead of taking her own life, she plunged the knife into Nicholas's stomach. This revealed that all these people were interconnected and were there solely to torture others. Jerry was furious with Mandy for mocking him. In his rage, he captured Mandy and burned her alive. Nicholas was not dead but unconscious at the time. By the time he came to his senses, he found Mandy had been burned badly, and the cult members had left. Mandy died while screaming in agony, with no one coming to her rescue. When Nicholas finally regained consciousness, he managed to free himself but found Mandy's body had been completely incinerated and turned to ashes. Nicholas was devastated, crying as if his entire life had ended. He stumbled home and began drinking vodka, consumed by a desire for revenge. Nicholas was determined to avenge Mandy's death because she was the only person in his life who had truly mattered to him. They had never considered separating, but now the cult members had killed her and torn them apart. Overwhelmed with grief and anger, Nicholas decided to kill the cult members and their leader, Jerry. He set off immediately to find his friend Cal, who owned a factory where various weapons were made. Nicholas reached Cal and told him that he needed a weapon powerful enough to fight and eliminate the cult members. Nicholas explained how they had burned his wife alive in front of him while he was powerless to intervene because he was unarmed. Nicholas then asked Cal if the cult members were truly demons. Cal responded that they were not demons, but human beings who had been controlled through a strange drug. Essentially, they were both human and not human. Despite this revelation, Nicholas was determined not to spare them under any circumstances. He set out to create a highly dangerous weapon and gathered an arsenal of weapons to eliminate them. After several days of hard work, Nicholas created advanced weapons and, with everything in place, he headed towards the forest to gradually take down the cult members. His first attack involved using a crossbow with a sharp arrow, which he fired at one of the cult members. The arrow struck the cult member directly, causing him to fall and writhe in pain. Nicholas decided to run over him with his car. However, as he advanced, the cult member emitted strange vibrations with his hand. This was due to the drug, which granted humans unnatural and dangerous powers. Before Nicholas could kill him, more cult members arrived, capturing Nicholas and taking him to their hideout. They intended to kill him, but Nicholas, still furious and haunted by the image of his burning wife, was determined to do whatever it took for revenge. Nicholas fought back fiercely, freeing himself and systematically killing the cult members. His behavior was shocking as he was a normal human forced into becoming a cannibal due to the circumstances. He killed them with a brutality that seemed almost normal to him under the current situation. One by one, he eliminated the cult members until he found a jar containing the same liquid that Sean had given to the cult group. This liquid was the strange drug used to transform people into bizarre creatures. Nicholas was completely unaware of the drug's effects on the group, and this discovery added another layer of complexity to his mission. Nicholas decided to taste a bit of the drug to understand its effects. As soon as he did, he experienced bizarre visions that left him bewildered. At times, he found himself drenched in blood, and at other times, he teleported to strange locations. These experiences were both amazing and terrifying for Nicholas, shaking him to his core. During these visions, Nicholas encountered the chemist who had created the drug to turn humans into animals that could be controlled to kill others. The chemist, believing that Nicholas might be under the drug's influence and thus under his control, was unaware that Nicholas had only consumed a small amount and still had full control over himself. The drug granted Nicholas several powers, but he retained his autonomy. The chemist, thinking Nicholas was fully controlled, gave him the address of Jerry's family, who lived in the forest. Nicholas, upon leaving, killed the chemist and then went to Jerry's home. There, he first killed Sean, who had started all the trouble by informing the cult members about Mandy. Nicholas killed Sean by forcefully inserting weapons into his mouth, then brutally eliminated all the cult members he encountered. Next, Nicholas approached Jerry, who was meditating in a strange location, feeling the dark powers that granted him his strength. Suddenly, the severed head of Jerry's mother, Marilyn, fell at his feet. Nicholas had killed her and thrown her head there. Seeing his mother's condition devastated Jerry, and he began to cry, but it was too late. Nicholas, consumed by rage, had arrived at the scene, prepared to confront Jerry. Nicholas, consumed by rage, gripped Jerry's head tightly and began to squeeze. Jerry screamed in agony because Nicholas's grip was incredibly strong, so strong that it seemed impossible for any human to match. The truth was, Nicholas had gained immense power from the drug, and since he had consumed only a small amount, he retained full control over his body. Jerry, desperate to save himself, tried to emotionally blackmail Nicholas, claiming that Mandy had been very flirtatious and had eyes for other men, implying that she would have betrayed Nicholas soon. Jerry's aim was to manipulate Nicholas emotionally so he could escape, but this was a miscalculation. Nicholas was beyond listening to anyone and was focused solely on revenge. Nicholas intensified his grip on Jerry's head, increasing the pressure until, in the next moment, he completely crushed it. It was as if a piece of wood had been shattered. Jerry's condition was grim, and he died on the spot. Nicholas, feeling a level of power he had never experienced before and fueled by immense anger, was driven by the drug's effects. Although the main leader was dead, the cult members, who had been brought here by the captain, were still out there. Nicholas knew his fight was far from over and that he needed to continue his quest to avenge his deceased wife. He set fire to the entire temple and house to ensure all the cult members were killed and then quickly left the scene. As Nicholas sat in his car, he began to experience visions of Mandy. It was clear that they had shared a deep love, as they seemed to be constantly looking at each other. Mandy's eyes were depicted as very beautiful, and Nicholas appeared somewhat normal. However, when he glanced at his reflection in the mirror, he was horrified to see his face covered in blood and severely damaged, leaving him in shock. Suddenly, Nicholas began experiencing strange visions of various planets approaching Earth. The scenes were so terrifying and realistic that Nicholas couldn't tell if they were real or just a result of the drug's effects. Alongside these visions, he also imagined his deceased wife, Mandy, and recalled how she used to create abstract drawings. Nicholas remembered a painting Mandy had made of him, which also included a lion. Mandy had always believed that no matter what happened, Nicholas would never abandon her and would always try to protect her. It seemed Mandy had predicted her own fate, but she chose not to tell Nicholas, allowing events to unfold as they would. Now, Nicholas had become quite independent and was prepared to face the significant battle ahead, seeking revenge for his wife's death. However, there was a lingering question: was everything that Nicholas experienced real, or was it a result of the drug? The entire story seemed to be linked to the peculiar drug, which could cause severe chemical imbalances in the user's mind. This imbalance could lead to distorted perceptions and allow one to delve into various types of imaginings, making reality seem completely altered. The drug could present any character or scenario to make it seem like reality. With these questions in mind, Nicholas wondered about the unique stone Jerry possessed. It turned out that the stone was none other than the King Abra's stone, belonging to an ancient Egyptian devil named Abras. This stone was so powerful that it could control anyone who came into its proximity. It was possible that the evil break stone Jerry had allowed him to be entirely controlled, which explained his bizarre behavior and claims of being the most powerful and having everyone working under him. These were the same kinds of things the evil Abras would have said. So, under Abras's influence, Jerry was performing all those actions, and that knew down, the cult members, were also inflicting harm on people, unaware that they were under someone else's control due to their intoxication. Jerry took advantage of the situation to manipulate them into carrying out his plans. But another question arises: was Nicholas's experience with the drug real or just a hallucination? Nicholas's anger reached new heights after his wife's death, and he decided to eliminate everyone responsible. His newfound powers, likely a result of the drug, allowed him to easily overpower and defeat his enemies. The way Nicholas effortlessly crushed Jerry's head suggested that the drug had made him extraordinarily powerful. With his revenge nearly complete, Nicholas was ready to face whatever remained of the threat. And thus, our shocking story comes to an end.